Hello, all amazing teachers. Hope you're doing great. So, this is Veda, the education consultant and NLP practitioner. So many times, whenever I take this teachers training, as a kind of a teachers training workshop, I always ask this question. In the beginning of the session, I'll ask them like, how many categories of students you normally take. I mean, you have in your classroom. So, what they normally respond, like they say three categories or like two categories. And when I ask them, can you tell about those categories, and they will always say, it's like slow learners, medium learners, or like toppers. So this is kind of a general classification we normally do it, right? The terminology just changes. Now we are talking about slow bloomers or like late bloomers and all these things. The terminology just changes, but still we stick on to those traditional categories. But let me tell you, there are also other categories of students. So, first of all, the very important step of a teacher, the very first step of a teacher is to understand the categories of students first, especially when it comes to their learning style. So, we all know that in every classroom there are three categories of learners. There are more than three categories, but generally, if you categorize it, there are three. We call that as VAK model. It's like visual learners, auditory learners, and kinesthetic learners. So this is a very important step for a teacher to know that. Example, I'm a teacher of class 6. Let me assume. So if I'm before me going to class 6, I really have to do some pre-work, or I really have to have an understand about my class. Among these 30 people, 30, how many of them are visual learners? What is visual learners? Visual learners are the learners, they learn faster by looking at the pictures or videos. If you show pictures, if you show some visual aids, they pick it up. They learn faster. So by showing them, they learn it faster. And the second one is auditory learners. Auditory learners, they learn faster by listening. They are very good at listening. And there are many students, who will be paying close attention, when you teach. They don't even study, but they'll get good marks because they are auditory one. So when you tell stories, when you explain it nicely, and pre-primary teachers, when you sing, they listen, and it stays there in their memory. That's auditory. And the third one is kinesthetic. They are kind of practical learners, hands-on learners. So what you have to do whenever you go with a concept, you'll have to give them some practical, hands-on experience. For example, taking them to labs. That is there in the curriculum itself, right? For example, when you explain about some concepts like types of rocks, we know there are three types of rocks: sedimentary, igneous, and what metamorphic, right? So when you explain it, instead of just saying it, instead of just explaining it, you can show them, you can make them to feel this rock, touch it. This is sedimentary, this is igneous. This is how they learn faster. So now, as a teacher, the very first step for me is to understand, okay, in my classroom, how many students are visual, how many students are auditory, and based on that, I'll have to take my class. So for my 40 minutes, in my 40 minutes of session, I really have to give opportunity for all these three categories of students. If that is not catering, I'm not catering my class to the learners, I'm not doing justification, I'm not doing justice. See, teaching is not just to teach or not to complete the syllabus, but to make sure that students are traveling with you, students are understanding in their style. That's something very important. So the first step is to understand about the students, like their learners, like what kind of learners they are. After that, you also have to understand about yourself, what kind of teacher you are. Are you a visual teacher? Are you an auditory teacher? Are you a kinesthetic one? So if after knowing that, you'll have to add more elements to it. There are many curriculum providers like YOLO. They design curriculums. They design curriculum which have all these elements in the 40 minutes period itself. So that would be great. But if you're not following any other additional curriculum, you'll have to plan it accordingly. So, dear teachers, this is the first step of your teaching. Please make sure that you understand your class. You understand your class. You understand like what kind of categories, what type of students or like am I handling with, and based on that, you have to change your teaching methodologies. We always say there are no teaching methodologies. There are no attention deficit students. I repeat, there are no attention deficit students. There are only teaching methodologies which cannot grab the attention of the child. So, if you start understanding your children, you are going to be the game changer. You are going to be the miracle maker. So, I believe that you're doing it. If you have any queries, if you have any furthermore doubts, please reach out to me and kindly make sure that if this video is useful for you, if you feel that this video is useful for you, please share this video with the fellow teachers, and you can also support by sharing and subscribing to my channel. Thank you so much, teachers.